Welcome back to another episode of GamingBolt, guys. Today, we're going to talk about survival games of 2022 and beyond. Survival games might not be as popular in the mainstream or as inherently appealing as something like a shooter or RPG would be. But as more than a few games have proven over the years, this is a genre with a sizable and dedicated player base that is always on the lookout for the next big thing to demand attention. If you count yourself among that group, you're going to have plenty of survival games to look forward to in the future, and here we're going to look at a few of them today. Ark 2. Depending on who you ask, Ark Survival Evolved is either a needless, obtuse game that squanders its potential or a solid and engaging survival experience that will reward you if you invest time into it. One thing that very few will deny, however, is that there's a lot of potential there. Studio Wildcard is promising a bigger, more ambitious, and crucial, more polished spin on the established formula with the sequel, and such a refinement might just elevate the experience to another level. Sons of the Forest. For those who really like to be pushed to the limit in their survival games, N-Night Games' excellent 2018 title, The Forest, was an experience unlike any other, combining survival mechanics and chilling horror against the backdrop of a harsh, hostile setting. Its sequel, Sons of the Forest, was announced a while back, and even in the absence of many updates on the game since then, anticipation surrounding it has been high for fans of the first game. With a release set for May, we'll hopefully learn more about this in the near future. The Day Before. A little over a year ago, Mytona and Fantastic unveiled The Day Before, and immediately, its central hook of letting players lose in an open-world zombie survival MMO turned a few heads. From exploring dangerous indoor environments to exploring the city in vehicles, from building up a colony of survivors to crafting the perfect build with the right gear, The Day Before is promising some interesting things that, if implemented properly, could come together very well. Of all the games in the list, this is pretty much the entire game that's guaranteed to be excellent when it launches in full. That's because millions have already played it and fallen in love with it. Iron Gate's Viking-inspired survival game enjoyed an explosive early access launch last year, and though there's no concrete word yet on when it will launch in full, we know that with the improvements and additions it'll make to what's already there, it's only bound to get even better. INTERASTRA. T-Bull's sci-fi space exploration survival game, INTERASTRA, hasn't grabbed a ton of headlines, but though it's a fairly low-key game, it's got quite an interesting premise. With an entire planetary system for players to explore, INTERASTRA promises to hold mysteries, a variety of wondrous sights and alien discoveries, and more. But of course, going hand in hand with that exploration will be the demands of surviving space travel, not only by looking after yourself, but by maintaining your space rocket. Hopefully, INTERASTRA gets off the ground, because if it does, it could grow in interesting ways. DERELICTS. Set in a far-flung future where the Earth has been rotting in the radiation poisoning expelled by a mysterious mechanism long ago and the remnants of humanity live in space stations, players in Derelicts will crash land on Earth and be tasked with surviving its wastelands. Building your base, surviving the elements, braving against deadly weather, fighting against mutated monsters, Derelicts is promising a grueling experience, and we're curious to see how it shapes up. Nightingale. Its reveal at the Game Awards last December was an eye-catching one. From its unique Victorian aesthetic and fantasy setting to the blend of crafting, survival, exploration, and co-op play, there's a fun idea at Nightingale's core that we're excited to learn more about. With an early access launch set for sometime this year, hopefully it won't be long before we see more of this game. Frostpunk 2. 11-bit Studios' post-apocalyptic survival city-building simulator Frostpunk has wowed millions since its launch back in 2018, so it's no surprise that people are more than just a little excited to see what its sequel will have to offer. Frostpunk 2 will take players back to the frigid end of the world, and according to its developers, it'll offer a much deeper and more complex experience that doubles down on all of the first game's themes and choices and consequence mechanics. As anyone who's played Frostpunk will tell you, that's an exciting prospect. Blizzard's survival game. We know very little about this game. In fact, other than the fact that it is in development, we know nothing about it, including its name. But a major new IP being developed by Blizzard Entertainment can't easily be ignored. The concept art released for this game suggests a fantastical setting that blends an urban and contemporary world with a more mystical one, but what exactly this game will turn probably won't be known for a while yet. Either way, we're keeping a keen eye on this one. Winter Survival Simulator. Using the premise of a hike gone wrong as a springboard, Winter Survival Simulator is going to deliver pretty much exactly the experience that the name suggests. Players will be tasked with getting to safety, and the trek across a frozen landscape will bring plenty of challenges with it, from hunting for food, to finding shelter, to protecting yourself against the elements and wildlife. With the right mechanical depth and balance, a grounded premise like this one might just be able to produce an engaging experience. Project Castaway. Moving from a frozen hellscape to a sunny and tropical one, Project Castaway will challenge players to survive on islands in the Pacific Ocean. A number of different islands will players with building and expanding bases, finding food and weapons, managing thirst and hunger, setting sail and exploring surrounding islands, contending with weather and wildlife, and more. An early access release is currently planned, and the developer plans on keeping it in early access for at least a couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see how this game grows. DYSTERRA. DYSTERRA is probably pretty far out right now, and unlike other games on this list, players haven't been able to get their hands through early access or similar means, though it's making some interesting promises that catch the eye. Set on an Earth on the verge of destruction, DYSTERRA will combine the building and survival management mechanics that fans of the genre know and love with FPS combat encounters using futuristic weapons. Hopefully, we'll learn more about the game in the near future because what we know so far has definitely piqued our curiosity. Occupy Mars, the game. Games have often been flirted with the idea of tasking players with surviving the inhospitable surface of Mars, and some have done so quite well. Pyramid Games' Occupy Mars, the game, has the potential to be another one of those. The premise is what you'd expect, with players being tasked with establishing, protecting, and expanding a colony on Mars, but it's the game's unrelenting focus on highly technical gameplay mechanics that has the potential to set it apart from the crowd. If it does justice to its premise, it's probably going to be the kind of game that if you manage to get into it, it'll sink its claws deep into you. State of Decay 3. Undead Labs has made slow and steady improvements to the State of Decay formula over the years of the series' 2 games so far. And even though there's room for improvement there, it's also undeniable that it's got more than enough going for it to keep players engaged and entertained. With State of Decay 3, Undead Labs has the full backing of Microsoft as an Xbox first-party studio. So it goes without saying that we're quite excited about how they'll be able to improve and expand upon the foundations of the first 2 games. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for stopping by GamingBolt. If you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and don't forget to hit that like button. We'll see you next time.